What's a dead giveaway that someone doesn't have a life? Starting workplace drama. Worked a job that I'd best describe as being the mean girls version of middle school. And if you didn't like middle school, you don't want to work there. There were 3 people involved, all over 45 years old. The ringleader was the senior employee with nearly 20 years there. She had no life outside of work apparently, was approaching 5 failed marriages and extremely insecure about her lot in life. You were either in, middle, or out of the group. Middle meant that they didn't openly like or dislike you, you were sort of invisible. Out was open warfare. The group would start rumors against other employees, make employees take sides against others, deliberately interfere in any kind of decent working relationship between employees, etc. My work life was made hell because I knew how to program a moderately complex volume calculation in an existing Excel sheet and have it spit out the correct pricing and weight info. One of my supervisors was convinced to cheat on his wife by a younger coworker who apparently cheats on his girl regularly. Wife found out and booted him and wrecked about $1,800 of his shit. No matter, he's got a newfound life as a player and fucking loves it. He's noticed that I'm married to, as he puts it, a baddie and has low-key outed himself as having stalked my wife's FB profile a few times and has told other guys he can't grasp or understand how a goofy-looking fucker like me is married to such a baddie. What's more, I'm die-hard loyal to my wife. I will not cheat or go behind my wife's back. Every day. Every fucking day this guy and his cronies give me grief for being a dinosaur because I refuse to cheat on my wife, and when it's him and his cronies all they talk about is getting laid and which women we work with they'd fuck or have fucked. So yeah, shallow dumb shit like that. No life at all. Being a Karen. The neighborhood kids colored on the sidewalk with chalk near your house? Take pictures, knock on their door, BC you know exactly where those little shits live, and chastise them and their parents on graffiti. Then hose off that hideous handiwork they consider art. And then maybe call the cops if you feel you haven't gotten your point across. Someone drove the wrong way down the parking lot aisle? Wait for them to park and then personally open their door and let them know. The fact that they may have a gun doesn't even cross your mind. BC you are right, they are wrong, and you will make sure they learn their lesson. You notice a man with a dog wearing a service animal vest on the walking trail, but you're pretty sure there are signs indicating no dogs allowed posted everywhere? Approach both him and his dog aggressively and berate him, inform him of the law and then call the cops. Then proceed to stand in his way while he tries to leave so that he can't go anywhere until the cops arrive. Or just be a racist, ageist, nosy, entitled see you next Tuesday who feels they need to directly police other human beings for doing things that they don't agree with. All because it's your American, God-given right. Most of my colleagues, to be honest. We do security for our office complex with 5 buildings. Nothing important and nothing of value on site, just run-of-the-mill offices. Yet my colleagues treat the job like we are protecting the king himself. You forget to switch off one light while doing a lockup, then you bet there will be a complaint to the management before the shift is over. Our supervisor is also a micromanager, to the point he reviews the CCTV footage of whatever day he does not work to check up on us. The worst one is a colleague that has been with the company for about 20 years. He has no partner, no friends, has to be forced to take time off, and does nothing with his free time other than sit in front of the TV while waiting for his next shift. Just thinking about the guy's life is depressing enough. Quite the rant, I know, but imagine having to work with these people. Using any excuse to leave the house. Hear me out, and I will get hate cause this'll affect a lot of you. Having a life to me means finding full fulfillment entirely in the things you do. The people you are doing things with and the reasons you are going. Hobbies are fulfilling, hanging out with your closest friends is fulfilling, exercising is fulfilling, learning something new is fulfilling, going to school is mandatory so you go. It's when you start to do stuff you're not entirely into, just to get out of the house, that I feel is when people don't genuinely have lives. Having a life means finding pure meaning in the people you surround yourself with and the things you're doing. Going to a family reunion for the 3rd time in a month cause you'd rather not be home isn't fulfilling. Hanging out with someone you barely know so you can say you did something on the weekend isn't fulfilling. Even though you love them, hanging out with your parents every other day isn't fulfilling. And don't lie to yourself either. Loving someone and actually loving what you're doing entirely is 2 different things. It's still okay to do those things. The part of not having a life for me is when someone is doing the unfulfilling things way more than the fulfilling. There are things that get you by. Then there are things you purely enjoy. Both are okay to do. If you're doing the things that get you by way more often, to me that's a sign you don't actually have a life. You don't actually have a group of friends you connect deeply with, you don't have hobbies that you genuinely enjoy and that make you a better person. You're just going to nanny's house for the 4th time this month cause you're bored as fuck at home. Please find meaning in the things you do. Stop using your family as an excuse. Being super dogmatic about a specific thing, making it your whole world. Even if you're a professional, don't stake your ego on any one thing. Working in software engineering, there are some folks who have their entire identity wrapped up in this profession. They can be really difficult to work with if instead of preferences they have beliefs about things. Like, they believe this framework Y is the absolute best, and anyone who thinks otherwise must be an idiot. Instead of being hyper-focused on being the best at one thing, I have a bunch of hobbies. I don't care if people think I'm a mediocre developer, because I'm also a mediocre artist, writer, photographer, dog trainer, and gamer. When you're familiar with being a novice, it makes learning new things a lot less painful. Hey, one thing I can tell from the variety of answers is that, no matter how someone lives their life, they can and will be judged for it. Are you career-oriented, or do you work hard to earn a living? You have no life. Of course, the same applies if you don't work enough. Some would argue that starting a family is the ultimate goal in life, but people also don't have enough of a life if they're too passionate about their kids. Do you have a strong interest in something, like a hobby, that you devote much of your time to because it's your passion? Say, sports, reading, video games, movies, gardening, whatever. No life. Did you peak in high school/college, and life has been rough for you, maybe just down to bad luck, since? No life. And of course, if you happen to be some poor soul who self-isolates due to struggling with mental illness, you have to be judged as a no-lifer instead of being met with any kind of empathy for your situation. Maybe we just shouldn't worry too much about how others judge us and just live our lives as we want to.